So when you stop in the middle of anything, clarity or delusion, doesn't matter. When you no longer struggle, because struggling is like a man in quicksand trying to get out, which only takes him deeper in. When you realize the very impetus that confusion needs to continue, which is it needs your battle against it. If you stop in it, then the truth will be revealed there. Because until you can find truth in all the various forms of illusion, not truth outside of illusion as an escape from illusion, but truth right in the middle of illusion, then you can easily be deceived again. That's why I'm always telling people, don't keep trying to get out of where you are. Where you are has truth, but you can't access it as long as you're struggling against it. As long as you're trying to get away, get out of it, get beyond it, figure it out. So I don't know, and I don't actually care one bit whether your destiny is to be one of a lineage that's rooted in time or a lineage is not. That doesn't matter. That's not my concern. Because I have no control over that. It doesn't matter to me in the slightest. The thing that is important, however, is that reality is everywhere. In form, out of form. In time, out of time. And it's only obscure because it's right out in front of you. Okay. You get the feel? That's all I'm trying to do. It's just, you get the feel. You just get the feel. Right? Okay. Illusions always tricking you by getting you obsessed with content. Solve the content. Solve the content of your life and everything will be better. That's pure trickery, though. The most miserable people are the people that are always trying to solve themselves. Right? There's something more primary. Come on up. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Stuart.
Hi, Stuart.
Thanks for picking on the cheap seats back there. So, last night, as at the end of satsang, as you spoke, the words you were speaking were directly experienced. And there was what came was that I was at rest, and in such a way that I did not know what the word rest meant before. Mm-hmm. And I've actually said this before in a situation just like this. And so there's a way that as language fails and deepening deepens, you can only I don't need to tell you this.
Yeah.
So
it's like trying to communicate across a vast chasm of space.
yes.
Right.
And so my question, okay, so again, the clarity of searching for this, seeking it, the ridiculous stupidity. I mean, just the, you do a great job of describing that. Thank you.
Having done it so long and to such an extent, it helps.
So I'm glad I don't have to try and do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is my deepest, my sense in and for me this glimpse, and every one is so unique, but I'll say that if I wish to call this one a glimpse, then this one was perhaps longer in time than many.
Mm-hmm.
My sense is of deep clarity. I mean, a clarity that there is no deeper clarity that I've experienced in my life.
Yeah.
And words I hear are confusing to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I wouldn't
these
listen too hard.
Okay.
Because the reason I say that is I want to make very clear that I'm often jumping around all over the place, which means I'm speaking to the person that I'm with, and I'm speaking to what it seems they are capable of hearing. I'm not interested in speaking something to somebody that they are not capable of hearing at that moment. That's why some of the stuff I'll say will be useful to you, and some of it will just seem totally useless. And why the hell is he saying it that way?
And so, okay, so I've been in a lot of satsang in the last 4 years. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meetings.
Yeah.
And
well, you've heard about everything you need to hear then, huh?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And yet, I can't help myself. I love to be here. Mm-hmm. And there has always been there have always been certain words that, so for example, the unknown. So for me, this clarity, I mean, the solidness of it, the hugeness of it is maybe that's the unknown, the unfathomableness of it. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And the reason that it's so clear is because it's not all filled up with everything we think we know. Right?
And
so
yet I'm quantifying it all the time. My mind is still,
of course.
The mind is working, and it's like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's this, right? It's here. It's been here before. Here it is again. Mm-hmm. It's a little deeper this time. It's a little whatever. But the mind is still, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can quantify this experience.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it's actually not so mysterious. I mean, it is.
Right.
But I'm quantifying it all the time.
There you go. And it's clarity, so in that sense, it's not mysterious either.
Right.
Clarity is about as clear as it gets.
Right.
Remember I said, within truth is delusion and sleight of hand, and within sleight of hand and delusion is truth. So it's plain both sides all the time. Clarity is ultimate mystery. Ultimate mystery is total clarity.
Okay.
It's not one or the other.
Right. Okay, that one's been bending my noodle for years, so I appreciate it.
I'm glad we can get
Okay. And so I have another a question. And
okay, throw it out.
I'm throwing it out. So my experience of meditation is that, well, I've never been a big meditator. I do enjoy sitting, and I'm using the words interchangeably right now, by the way. I've never been a, one-point focus, whatever, meditation type of person. So, but I have this, while sitting, my mind, I have a hard time staying awake. Mm-hmm. And where my mind goes is into fantasy. Mm-hmm. And when I say fantasy, I say, a word, someone, there are words in the room or something around, and I am, climbing the slopes of Kilimanjaro with this person, whatever, or, yes. It's just like I go into, and sometimes really amusing, I'll be cracking myself up. Yeah.
Yeah. And entertaining yourself.
Very much entertaining myself. Yes. And this is the primary way that I take myself, or that my mind engages me in what is not here. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I'm very familiar with, what is here? And I bring focus, I turn attention on itself. Mm-hmm. And then the fantasies come so subtly. It's so subtle.
Yes.
And then 5 minutes will go by, sometimes 10, sometimes an entire sitting period, and it's over like that. And I have engaged in any number of really fun, entertaining activities. Yeah. But not. So I guess what I'm asking is, is there you've meditated a lot more than I have.
Sorry to say, yes.
And so for this particular variant, I've heard lots of other people talk about sitting and then what happens with them.
Yeah.
This is my primary variation of what happens while I'm sitting. And the tendency when I do go off into that fantasy, it's just like a dream. I will fall asleep. I start to fall asleep.
Yeah, it's how you put yourself to sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, I guess what I'm asking for is like, I don't know, it seems kind of ridiculous, but some kind of a technique, or is there something that, what is your experience of this?
Well, my experience isn't going to help you.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
It's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My experience is really simple. Just sitting.
Right.
Period. End of story. Nothing more to say. That's all that's happening. That's it.
Okay.
Okay? So, here's what you do. Because what you want to do, how do I say this? What I want to do is I want to ruin your fantasies, okay? Because if they're really entertaining, then the mind just keeps going with them. But you can't ruin them. First of all, I don't want to set you up so you're in opposition to them, because that's just a new fantasy.
Understood. Yeah.
Right now, sure. I'm a guy trying to not fantasize all the time, which is just one fantasy on another fantasy.
I get that.
Right. Okay.
So I'm not with the riding crop right now, lashing myself. Good. Although I do.
If you're in a Zen temple, by the way, what we do is put someone behind you that knows how to use this. This is what staff my teacher gave me, and it is flat because it's made to hit people. She used to have me hit people, so I know. And someone would stand behind you, and they'd whack you every now and then. And if they could tell you are fantasizing, they might whack you every minute or so for 40. But since I'm not really prone to that, and I don't want the lawsuits that would ensue from it, I use it for other means. So you're
a little short-staffed as well.
I'm a little short, right? Yeah. I'm a little short.
There are a lot of us here.
But if somebody doesn't like it, I can run pretty fast. Is to just be conscious of what you're doing. That's all. Stay conscious of what you're doing.
Pay attention, essentially.
More than pay attention.
Okay.
Pay attention to the fact that there is attention. Okay? be conscious that all your fantasies are unfolding within consciousness. Don't have it as an idea. Then it's just a silly, non-dual bunch of nonsense. Actually experience it. My mind's starting to think about climbing Kilimanjaro. And there's consciousness. And then not just the fact, not just saying to yourself, oh, it's okay, it's in consciousness, because that's a very little effect. Then you start to sense the consciousness that it's unfolding within. Right? So you're just noticing. You're not trying to stop something from happening. You're just becoming conscious of consciousness.
Yeah.
Not like you're trying to look at consciousness or turn it into an object, but there's just consciousness of consciousness. Like this will ruin the fantasy.
An awakened dream in a way. It's like you're dreaming, but you're taking the step back while you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just reminding yourself that there is awakeness within this. Mm-hmm. There is consciousness here.
Okay.
Because the dream, the illusion, the sleight of hand that happens is that everything is taking place so that you do not remain conscious of the most obvious thing, which is consciousness. That's what all the various illusions are doing, right? How do I do this? How do I make my life? My guru tell me how to find my soulmate. How do I make a decision for my job? Anything, so that the focus goes away from the most obvious thing in the world. In fact, the very thing that the world is. And the focus goes away from that and onto the particular. And mostly onto some sort of battle with it. So instead of doing that, knowing that that's a good fantasy gets you to forget about all that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you remain conscious of what's happening, conscious of the fact of consciousness, feeling it, sensing it, then it will ruin the fantasy. Because a fantasy is only good to the extent that it can get you to forget about yourself. And if you're not forgetting about yourself, it's no longer interesting. It's like a movie where you're very self-conscious about the fact that you're in a theater. It's a crappy movie. A good movie, you forget that you're in a theater, don't you? Mm-hmm. You forget you're being entertained. You forget that none of this is actually happening. And you lose yourself. And what I'm saying is, you will not be allowed to lose yourself. Now, that'll be annoying. And the idea isn't to remain conscious of yourself being conscious, because that is a sort of neurosis itself, right? That's its own sort of dream. But it has the effect of getting you out of a very obvious dream state, because it takes the fun out of it. And then, again, if you're not struggling, then the you that's trying to remain conscious of consciousness just sort of inextricably slips out of the picture.
I can feel it's
right.
True.
And when it slips out of the picture, you do not need to remember that I even ever said anything about remaining conscious of consciousness. When the you has accomplished that and is trying to maintain it, when you just notice it and you just let it go, then forget all about this consciousness of consciousness stuff and just let that last little bit of the illusion of you go. Because then you're actually living the consciousness of consciousness rather than practicing it. You might have to kind of practice it to link you, but then you just let it go. And there you're back in that clarity again. Right? How's that?
Good.
All right. Great. Okay. Enjoy your day.